Surprise everyone, I'm back, covering another GINX news. Pretty soon you won't be able to tell the difference between me and Ash. Well, apart from the obvious. I'm shorter. I'm Mathieu Cote, and this is GINX News. Game Director of Dead by Daylight Mathieu Cote was a guest judge in a special Dead by Daylight themed episode of Dragula. Quick bit of context, Dragula is a reality competition show about horror-themed drag performers to find the world's next drag supermonster, where they do challenges based on the pillars of filth, horror, and glamour. And word of warning, the show is not for the faint-hearted. Anyways, episode 9, which aired recently, had a whole Dead by Daylight themed episode with product placement everywhere, naturally. And contestants had to invent a character that could be a killer in the Dead by Daylight world along with a finishing move. The winner of the episode would also have their character included in an upcoming Boulet Brothers themed DLC as a skin. There to judge the 4 contestants that were left was of course the director of the game, Mathieu Cote. Now it's always an interesting time when a straight man is on one of these drag show panels, but he actually gave some great insight into the drag artist's looks. Even going on to mention that a contestant's wings may not be as easily implemented into the game when going through door frames and confined spaces. Naturally, when the 4 remaining contestants were first told about this challenge, they were gagged, to say the least. A challenge and a crossover like this has never happened before in the history of the show, and one contestant in particular was a real big fan of the game. Spoiler alert for the show, so if you're a Dragula fan, look away now. Okay, so said superfan of the game was Queen Asia Consent. Asia like the continent, and consent because that is what? Mandatory. Anyways, she ends up winning the challenge with her character, the Winter Wendigo, which is a rather revealing she-wolf-like look, which was naturally covered in blood with parts of her flesh showing. Other contestants who didn't win the challenge included a demon goat-like creature, a mud mermaid, and a dragon thing. Other Dead by Daylight challenges they had on the show included having them put their hands into a box full of tarantulas to feel around for a boxed copy of the game, which they were comically calling a game cartridge. Also, another DBD-themed challenge was at the end to decide who wouldn't be eliminated, which involved them crawling around a recreation of the game, finding blood points, whilst shooters with paintball guns ravaged their bare skin. I told you, this show is no joke. The DLC comes out next year with the Boulet brothers being the stars of it. This marks not only a historical moment for the show, but one for the game, as the brothers are the first horror hosts to be immortalized in the game. Winner of the challenge, Asia Consent, goes on to say, "It's so surreal winning the Dead by Daylight challenge on the Boulet brothers Dragula. Not only am I on my favorite show, but now I get to be on one of my favorite video games ever. Start the totems, ready the hooks, and let the chasing begin." What do you think? Do we need more TV crossovers in games, or should games like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire for the PS1, Deal or No Deal for the Game Boy Advance, and Ready Steady Cook for the Wii stay in relative obscurity? Let us know.